Within the narrative of Charmed and the dynamic of the sisters, Piper Halliwell is the heart of the Charmed ones. Phoebe Halliwell, however, is the heart of the entire series. She is easily the most liked and relatable of the sisters, while Prue, Piper, and even Paige tend to only appeal to certain personality types. There is a universal appeal to Phoebe's characterization. Many fans find her easy to identify with and relate to, and those who don't still find her to be an appealing personality. She's fun and charismatic, but flawed enough to be considered accessible, while also being cool and spunky enough for audiences to want to emulate her. Phoebe is the most emotional of the sisters, constantly wearing her heart on her sleeve and being open about her feelings. This means that she is the most open to their magic, and we see from the very first episode that she genuinely loves being a witch.
We're the protectors of the innocent. We're known as the Charmed Ones.
When the series starts, Phoebe is quite directionless. We learn that she's been living away from her family and has been moving from job to job and from relationship to relationship. Unlike her more career-driven sisters, Phoebe starts the show jobless and without much purpose, having not yet found her passion or her path in life. While she initially seems uncaring about her aimlessness, it is slowly revealed over the first season that she is actually searching for a purpose and does desire a more stable path in life. This initial lack of direction helps to explain why she so readily embraces her magic, especially compared to her sister's more reserved reactions. Their magic gives Phoebe a purpose and lets her feel powerful and in control. Phoebe's love of magic and acceptance of the supernatural also stems from her deeper nature. Phoebe is a very compassionate and empathetic person, and from the first season, she shows a genuine desire to help others. As mentioned, she has a huge heart and can't stand to see people suffer, and her magic provides her with a way in which to help people. Phoebe is very personable and has the ability to put people at ease, and she often forms bonds with the innocents that the girls come into contact with, such as Aviva in The Fourth Sister, Eric in They're Everywhere, and Ava in The Eyes Have It. Even though all the sisters are forces of good and have a desire to help people, Phoebe is the one who initially embodies this desire the most, following her heart and emotions in order to help those who need it.
I remember, you were really sweet to him when he was in here. Not many people would have bothered. You must be an angel.
She later becomes a magical empath, a result of her deeply caring and compassionate nature, and she even ends up in a career which helps people, giving advice through a weekly column in a newspaper. Phoebe's empathy and emotions also help keep her close to her family, with her emotional openness helping her to overcome friction and form deep bonds with her sisters. Despite Prue's distrust of her, Phoebe is open to and even yearns for a connection with her older sister, working hard to gain Prue's trust and, despite some setbacks and arguments, continuously trying to forge a connection which she eventually achieves, allowing the two fiery sisters to become strong friends. Her open heart also allows her to connect with Paige much faster and initially much deeper than Piper does, and she often acts as a peacemaker between the two over the course of Season 4. In Season 6, Phoebe is the first of the Halliwells to figure out that Chris is Piper's son, and from then on, she acts as a confidant to him, helping him to reveal himself to Piper and aiding him in his quest to get his parents back together. Once again, Phoebe's emotional and empathetic side helps her to bond with a family member in a way in which her sisters initially don't. When it comes to her family, Phoebe's emotions and intuition are proven time and again to have a positive influence.
As an older sister, you're quite a bit to live up to.
Shut up.
I swear, dude.
Get out of here.
I'm telling you the truth.
Phoebe's heightened emotions and tendency to follow her heart also come with a downside, as they often play into her more reckless and destructive side. This is clearest when it comes to her romantic relationships, in particular, her relationship with Cole Turner. Phoebe is a very passionate person who desires both love and sexual contact. This leads her to sometimes act in reckless ways, such as the time she and Piper cast a lust spell which backfires on them, or when she accepts a date from a photographer who turns out to be a youth-stealing demon. Despite her eagerness for passion and heat, it's revealed in Season 2 that Phoebe's overly emotional ways have led to her being hurt in the past, and, coupled with her abandonment issues over her mother's death and her father leaving, this pain has led her to build walls around the romantic part of her heart. When the girls are visited by a literal Cupid in the episode Heartbreak City, he helps to open Phoebe's heart back up, encouraging her to let her emotional side out and open herself up to great romance and love. And the impact of this interaction is emphasized when Phoebe ends the series by marrying a Cupid who has been sent to her in order to give her the happy ending she so deserved.
For though I had loved before, I never really known love until I met Coop.
As mentioned, Phoebe's biggest and most intense love is the half-human, half-demon Cole Turner. And it is with Cole that we truly see her emotions enable her recklessness and endanger both herself and those she loves. Phoebe and Cole have a fairly intense connection, beginning from the moment they first meet. There is an instant attraction between the two, which leads very quickly into deeper feelings as they spend more time together. Towards the end of the previous season, Phoebe had expressed a desire for romance and for a partner, and the loneliness she has been feeling helps to explain why she falls for Cole so easily. Having opened her heart back up and made herself more emotionally vulnerable, Phoebe doesn't resist her feelings for Cole, even though she knows he isn't being completely honest with her, and her passion and impulsiveness lead to her betraying her sisters when Cole's true nature is revealed. Refusing to kill the love of her life, she puts her life and the lives of her sisters at risk when she fakes Cole's death. And even though her gamble does end up paying off, this is the first time we truly see how reckless and dangerous Phoebe can be when she follows her heart. When Cole becomes the source in season 4, Phoebe is again faced with whether to choose her sisters or her lover, and, once again, we see how her emotions lead her to endanger herself and her sisters. Under the influence of her passionate love for Cole, as well as the baby she is carrying, Phoebe chooses her husband and falls prey to the dark side, becoming Queen of the Underworld. Phoebe turning dark is a concept which has been visited several times over the series, and we have seen a past version of her go evil for exactly the same reason, turning on her family and embracing the darkness within.
I was good then too. Before she fell in love with Anton.
This potential for darkness is one of the most interesting aspects of Phoebe's personality. We learn in a season 1 episode that she was actually born in the manor, and since the Halliwell manor sits on a nexus of great power, Phoebe's physical birth on such a site means that she has the potential to go either way, to be good or evil. In the same episode, the Woogie, an entity which lives within the house, chooses Phoebe as its vessel, partially because of this potential, and when Phoebe is released from its influence, she questions her goodness and expresses fears of becoming evil. This fear is visited again in the episode where we see her past self, and brought up once more towards the end of season 2 when the girls are forced to work with the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Even though Phoebe possesses this potential for darkness and even eventually succumbs to it, she is still a genuinely good person and she ends up finding her way back to her sisters. However, the high price she pays for this is having to vanquish Cole, an action which breaks her heart and has long-lasting effects on her. Not only is she forced to kill the love of her life, she ends up losing the baby she conceived during their marriage, and the trauma which stems from these dual losses is evidenced in both obvious and subtle ways over the next several seasons. When season 5 opens, Phoebe is seemingly doing well for herself, committing herself to her job in which she can help and guide people, and having apparently moved on from both Cole and the loss of her unborn baby. However, when the girls cast a spell which transforms one of them into a mermaid, the magic targets Phoebe, and it is soon revealed that this happened because her heart is still so broken over Cole. In the show's lore, it is said that mermaids' hearts are so cold that they cannot love, and while her sisters initially believe that Phoebe has once again closed her heart off in the wake of losing Cole, it turns out that the opposite is true. Once more, Phoebe's strong emotions end up compromising her, as the spell connects with the part of her which still loves and yearns for Cole so much that she welcomes the emptiness of being a mermaid, using the transformation as an escape from her heart.
I thought Phoebe was running away because she hated you, but now I think it's because she loves you.
While Phoebe eventually heals from her relationship with Cole and is able to look back on the darkness he brought into her life with clear eyes, Her trauma over losing her unborn child is more complex and much more subtly portrayed. While she initially asserts that the baby was never really hers, as it was conceived as the new source of all evil, there are many instances over the following seasons which indicate that Phoebe felt this loss much deeper than anyone, including her sisters, realized. In season 5, her overenthusiasm and possessiveness of Piper's firstborn son Wyatt initially comes across as slightly strange and off-putting. She constantly hovers around the baby, takes photos of Wyatt into work and shows them off as if he were her own, and even talks about taking some sort of auntie leave similar to maternity leave. While this could be brushed off as Phoebe merely being excited about her new nephew, the slightly manic quality to her enthusiasm seems to indicate a deeper motivation and suggests that she is using Wyatt as a substitute for the baby she never got to have.
When are you gonna talk to her?
She's just excited.
Excited, obsessed.
Why? Because she wants to watch her nephew sleep.
A common complaint from fans of Phoebe's is that she changes too much in the later seasons of the show and somehow loses the qualities which initially made her so appealing. While characters do evolve and change, and Phoebe herself certainly does undergo significant change throughout the series, a well-written character will always keep their core traits and values, and it's easy to argue that this is the case with Phoebe Halliwell. While she does mature over the seasons and becomes more career-focused and less free-spirited than earlier seasons show her to be, she still maintains her core traits. We see her continue to connect with the innocents the girls are sent to help, especially once she develops her empathic powers. She continues to be a compassionate and caring person, and her emotions and big heart continue to guide her. Phoebe Halliwell was the heart of Charmed for a reason. Optimistic, vivacious, open-hearted, and full of life, she always managed to pick herself up when she fell down. And the depth and strength of her characterization has always and will continue to capture the hearts of viewers everywhere.